L3 Communications is one of our other sponsors. They're a very regular sponsor for us. Most of you in the audience know L3 Communications as either you or your friends are working there. And very often you just get to stay there. But you may not know that they actually do things that don't involve electrical engineering. That may come as somewhat of a surprise. So they actually do have a mechanical engineering group. And this year, L3 Communications sponsored a mechanical engineering project. And this project involved developing and analyzing a system for cooling gallium nitride power amplifiers. So it actually sounds kind of electrical engineering-like, except for the cooling part. And the project was all about the cooling part. So the advisors for that project were in mechanical engineering, Matthew Francoeur and Tim Amel, and Jared Campbell and Robert Smith from L3 were the liaisons. And I do believe Randy Sylvester is here. I'm pretty sure I saw him. So I'm going to call Randy up. He's the CTO of L3. So let's give Randy a hand. Okay, the next clinic team was Montatech. So Montatech, like the previous two, is also a Utah company. I won't tell you from which university they spun off. That would be heresy in this room. But I will tell you what they do. So one of their primary components of their business is to make optical polarizers. So some of their polarizers are in whatever's doing the projection of the image on that screen over there. There's 3 or 4 of their polarizers in that projector. And what they asked us to do was to be able to develop a system to test these polarizers at very short wavelengths in the ultraviolet. And I mean very, very short, 190 nanometers, where a lot of lithography is done in the semiconductor industry. I was the one who advised that project, and Matthew George was the liaison. And I do believe Matthew is here. Matthew. Oh, he's over there. Come on up. Let's get Matthew. I'm not sure what the other companies do with their plaques, but I do know that Montatech does have theirs in the hallways, probably next to your patent plaques, I hope. So our next group is a little bit different. It's a consortium. We call it the Power Engineering Consortium. And what we've done there is we've sort of recognized the fact there's a lot of companies in the valley who, in one way or another, deal with power generation. Certainly, we have a lot of consumers out there, a lot of big consumers out there. So Professor Botson has been supervising teams of students. They work on a common theme. In this case, it's electrical power generation and control of of generators. And we have a number of companies which form a consortium to sponsor that group and interact with that group. So what I'm going to do first is call out the liaisons and the companies, and I think only 2 of the liaisons are here tonight, so I'll call them up right afterwards. So the liaisons were Michael Dunn from Pacific Corp Energy, Kim Blair from Questar, James Hewlett from Intermountain Power Agency, Mark Skadden from Williams. And I do believe that Kim Blair and Mark Skadden are here tonight. And I'll have you come up. There's Mark. Come on up. So we actually do have a plaque. But instead of giving out 5 plaques, or instead of taking one and trying to cut it up into 4 or 5 pieces, we decided we would keep the plaque. So we have that. So we don't have anything to give them there, but we do have recognition. Okay. I think we have enough sponsors. It takes me a couple pages. Okay, so our next project is sponsored by Sandia National Labs. So, you may know a little bit about them, but they have locations in Albuquerque and in Livermore, California. So we've been working with the group out of Livermore. So they're a large engineering organization, you might say involved in national security. And I'm not allowed to say anything more than that. But they sponsored a team this year to look at power harvesting for small sensors using, trying to recover power from vibrations or RF energy, sort of ambient RF energy. Darren Young was their advisor, and we had two liaisons, Stephen Paradise and Chris Hall. And to represent Sandy, I'll call up Doug Gemlish, who's the group leader there. So I should also mention that Doug and Stephen are alumni of our department. So our final project this year is from Wet Design. So Wet Design is a company based out of in Los Angeles. It's also founded by an engineering alumnus, college engineering alumnus. So you almost certainly know what they do, even though you may not know the name. So Wet Design does choreographed water features. All right, they have one at the Gateway. They have two at City Creek. We even have a small display in the Warnock Engineering Building on campus. They have a larger display at the Bellagio. They have one in Abu Dhabi, right? Some very impressive displays. And what they wanted our group to do this year was those displays all follow a track, right? You got a soundtrack, you got music, the choreography is the same. It's the same show every time, right? Well, why not have that interact with the audience, right? Is there a way to make that show different depending on who's there viewing it and what the viewers do? So it's a very interesting project and very challenging because it involved mechanical, electrical, and computer engineering students. So Thomas Smith was the advisor who managed to pull it off. And Tom Kuda was the liaison from WET. Tom wasn't able to make it today. Mark Fuller, the founder of the company, was here today. I don't think Mark is in the audience. I don't think he made it tonight. But I already gave him his plaque and everything earlier. But I certainly want to acknowledge their participation for that project. So, yeah, you can. Okay, so every year we do give out an award. It's a teamwork award. So we're not necessarily saying it's the best clinic team, but it's the clinic team that, in our opinion, exhibited the best teamwork. All right, that's really what these team projects are about: is everybody working together, pulling in the same direction. And it really turned out to be a bit of a toss-up this year. What I want to do is first acknowledge the runner-up. I normally don't do this, but I do want to acknowledge the Wet Design team as the runner-up. So unfortunately, you didn't win. Sorry. So they really did a great job. But the winning team did something that we really like to see out of teams. There was no designated team leader. Right, when it came to the question and answer periods, things like that, every team member was able to speak up when it was appropriate. Everyone contributed. It was very clear. It was very clear to me, just observing the team. And also the advisors told me about the process they followed, how organized they were. In fact, everyone had a task. Come back the next week. Did you complete your task? What's your next task? Everything was very team oriented, very well organized. Again, I'm going to commit an act of heresy because this is a mechanical engineering team. And I hope that some of you are here to come up and defend me. So if I could get the L3 clinic team to come up. Try right here. round of applause for this team. It actually was a team of 6, by the way. Oh my gosh, $100.